Is OGO paid with stories trending around the world? Hello, Jenix.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you this morning?
Okay.
Our condolences to the Olubadan. May his soul rest in peace. Good morning, Vimbai, our favorite Nigerian. How are you this morning?
Well,
you were jollificating this weekend. Let me just out you.
Just good morning.
Good morning. Ruby on fire. How are you this morning? I saw it. I'm very proud of you. I'm actually very proud of you.
Did I miss something?
You did. Of course you did. As always.
You're going to party hard. You join your love life.
Okay. You play too much.
You know what? You excluded me.
No, it wasn't my.
It was
his birthday.
32nd birthday. Happy birthday. Favorite journalist, Adeswa.
Yes.
Give us a second.
The implications were. They were
up to the something is waiting. Thank you.
I love you. Happy birthday.
So I'm not leaving very early.
No, you won't. Well, all right. Well, good morning to you viewers. Let's begin what's trending. Taking reactions to the court order issued to the Senate to reinstate Senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, after her 6-month suspension was deemed excessive and unconstitutional. The judge in the case, Justice Binta Nyako, found Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan guilty of contempt of court for publishing a satirical apology on her Facebook page. The post was made in defiance of a court order that prohibited all parties involved in the suit from making public comments about the case. As a consequence of the contempt, the court fined Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan 5 million naira and ordered her to publish a formal apology in 2 national newspapers and on Facebook within 7 days to purge herself of the contempt. The judge emphasized that while the Senate has the power to discipline its members, such actions must not be so severe to deny constituents adequate representation, and that is an actual fact. Yes, because we know that Natasha has not been, conducting her duties since her suspension, but she's seen this as a victory. She actually did put up a post, and the reason why the court said that it was unconstitutional is because they denied the constituents their rights, which is the fact that Natasha had not been serving as a senator. Well, I'll tell you what Natasha said on her IG post. She posted, "I am Natasha," with a caption, "Illegal and unconstitutional suspension quashed. Thank you, great people, for your support. Together, we redefine leadership." Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan from Kogi Central. I mean, that post on Instagram went viral. In the meantime, the Senate says it will not recall Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan from her suspension until it receives and reviews the certified true copy of the judgment delivered on July 4th, and until she complies with the court's order to publish an apology and pay 5 million naira fine for contempt of court. Although the court dismissed the Senate's argument that it had sole jurisdiction over its internal affairs, the Senate spokesman, Yemi Adaramodu, emphasized that the court's judgment does not override the Senate's constitutional powers to discipline its members. He explained that the onus is now on Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan to fulfill the court's directives regarding the apology and fine. Once she complies, the Senate will then reconvene to deliberate on her matter and decide on her recall. Meanwhile, Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan told her supporters in a video trending on social media that she would resume her legislative activities in the Red Chamber on Tuesday, July 8th. She expressed gratitude to her supporters following the court judgment.
At its legislative rules, guidelines, and procedures with regard to how you suspend your members. So the argument now, which the Senate's camp, their legal counsel, that they are pushing, is that the
done was expected of us. It means that maybe we set the standard a little bit low for what our expectation is. Nevertheless, those revelations were also quite jarring, especially with regards to the revenue being made from the conference center. And many people are saying, well, that's why some people are so opposed to the president, because the place they were using to line their pockets has been taken from them. So, based off of that, I think a lot of people were just left with their jaws dropped as the revelations from the pulpit on a Sunday morning. And then lastly, I think that had followed what had happened on Friday night, where everybody was glued to Channel TV for an hour or so when we heard so many things that were said. We focus on the revelation that he alleges that Rotimi Amaechi's wife has been earning 4 billion naira per month from the NDDC. And I just say, well, the NDDC is the off your mic. The NDDC is the origin of off your mic. So for me, I thought it was quite funny, because I said, this thing is going to catch, the stray bullet might catch a lot of people, because NDDC is housing a lot of people's personal projects, wives' projects, personal aspirations, and so forth. So I really do look forward to that forensic audit. It will be very juicy, because it will indict a lot of people, and I hope it's done.
Let the can open.
Yes.
We want to see it. Dr. Abati, 48 billion naira. There is God. That's why all this money we are sharing.
First, let's deal with the idea of going to have a Thanksgiving service, because you have a minister of the Federal Capital Territory who has done some projects, who has spent about 11 days launching projects, and the president attended it. And then he goes to church. And he goes to church to go and masturbate, to engage in a process of self-adulation. I find that very childish. And that's why we'll question it. Now, let's make the point that this constitution that we're talking about says in section 10 that there shall be no state religion in any part. So, Nyesom Wike going to church to go and have a song and a dance is in violation of that part. He's not going there in his personal capacity. He's taking the whole machinery of the FCT to church to go and celebrate projects. Some of these churches, the church that he went to is St. James's Anglican Church. We call out the priest in that church this morning.
Correct.
Some of these priests, whether they are Anglican or Catholic, should also have the common sense to be able to say that certain things are not acceptable, no matter the amount of money that whether government official is bringing in a public capacity. Maybe they should give this priest also the Constitution of Nigeria to run, to understand that there's what is right, there is what is not right. Number two, who else will Nyesom Wike not abuse in this country? We're waiting for the day we abuse President Tinubu. And we'll be here to tell President Tinubu that we warned you that this person, the way he's going, he is going to abuse you one day when the occasion provides itself. He has abused Sapita Ojiri. He has abused Rotimi Amaechi. He has abused who else now? Dele Momodu. So and that's why a man like Dele Momodu is saying some of these people in government, they should take a breathalyzer test. I think that's what they call it in America.
Yes, that's
some people are saying they should take psychiatric tests. So why should public officials just talk out of turn?
Right.
Now he's attacking Rotimi Amaechi's wife, that she's this. Look, how does a wife get into the subject? And he's going about saying his father was a director of major companies. Who cares? Whether his father was a mechanic or a vulcanizer, that's not what we're talking about. He has a job as minister of the Federal Capital Territory. Can all of these people just focus on that? My wife is richer than your wife. My father is richer than your father. This is why I said this morning that there should be IQ tests for the people that we send into government. If you don't have basic intelligence, don't just go near power and don't disturb properly educated people with my wife is better than your wife, my father is better than your wife, I'm riding a Rolls Royce, I have money, I bought it with my money. Is that the kind of level of sophistication or intelligence or integrity that Nigerians should be confronted with? We have to say it. I end by saying that President Tinubu should beware he should pay more attention to the character of the people that he puts in a very important position. I don't want to hear about your wife. I don't care. I don't care whether your wife is an industrialist or your wife is this and that. I don't want to know whether your father is a millionaire or a billionaire. I want to assess you on the basis of the assignment that you have been given. Can these people grow up? How can we put children in important positions?
Dr. Mati, on fire! Sorry, Rufai, go ahead. Quickly.
Okay, I will not be quick.
You have to be because we have other stories.
Oh yeah. Where should I start from first? The church. Is it the desecration of the church?
Yes.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that the church is now being desecrated. The last song was so you can dance with me this morning.
All right.
Bishop Namiliki Popo na ejere Imam na balada. Bishop Namiliki Popo na ejere Imam na balada.
Rufi. Somebody say parada. Rufai, go ahead.
So first song that's so long ago. So I'm not surprised that the altar of God is being desecrated. I'm not surprised. I'm a man of faith. My faith is a cornerstone of my life. And when I see the altar of God being turned into a political rally ground, I know as a man of faith and the spirit that that's not the discernment of the kind of anointing I want. That's the political anointing that came on him while he was there on the pulpit. And it is sad, the aberration that is happening in our house of God. Secondly, the question asked is indicative of the state where Nigeria is today. Two politicians were asked, how did you make your money?
That's a question, though.
They couldn't give a coherent answer. They couldn't plot a timeline.
And then Amaechi said that.
I mean, with that, a lot of people, I've been seeing a lot of messages about people that went to school with people that have been debunking all the things they have said.
Okay.
They couldn't plot an empirical timeline of what they were before getting into power. They couldn't say in the interest of accountability, they should release their code of conduct filings before they got into power and out of power. It was a question that threw them off balance, and they muffled it because it speaks volumes of the accountability sector of the country. And that's why I dare them to release the kind of wealth they have before they got into politics and power. Secondly, President Tinubu, like Minister Wike said, please release that forensic report.
This is it, yes.
Because we need a country where there's accountability. Without accountability, you cannot thrive.
All right.
So I beg you, release that forensic report. I know because of time, I won't talk about it. I'll rest it.
Yes, we rest your case. Very good. We're waiting. Open the report. Well, all right. Last week, we'll take another story now. Last week, Vice President Shettima co-chaired the second session of the Nigeria-Brazil Strategic Dialogue Mechanism held at the Presidential Villa. The dialogue, which aims to boost bilateral engagements across key sectors, had in attendance the President of Brazil, Geraldo Alckmin. Shettima highlighted Nigeria's crucial role in shaping global growth, especially within Africa. Well, a video has emerged featuring both leaders leaving the meeting, with Shettima in the lead. In the video, Shettima was seen opening the door of the car for the Brazilian president, which has elicited a flurry of reactions. Let's take a quick look. Been trending. I mean, for me, I was saying that I don't know if there's any sort of breach of protocol. I think it's some sort of diplomatic, courtesy. That's how I saw it. Your thoughts quickly.
You are absolutely correct.
Hey.
As Professor Akinterewa will say, you cannot be more correct.
Well,
there's a book in diplomacy. As a student of diplomacy, the Bible of diplomacy is a book called Alleges diplomatic handbook. And one of the things that R.G. Fetham teaches us in that book is that there's something called diplomatic courtesy, to show friendship, to build rapport, to promote good relations. And that's precisely what Vice President Kashim Shettima has done in that place. The man that he opened the door for was his opposite number, the Vice President of Brazil. At a point where Nigeria was negotiating with Brazil for Brazil to invest in the agriculture sector. In fact, President Tinubu is still in Brazil, where he's still talking about it. So our Vice President, having hosted the Vice President of Brazil, opens door for him. But I've seen some, funny people on social media saying this is a breach of protocol. People should not comment on what they do.
They don't know, right?
I think that what the Vice President did is quite appropriate, and it's a gesture of friendship, civility, decency, and good diplomatic relations.
Thank you, Dr. Abati. Well said. Shall we head over to Kaduna State now, highlighting the Nigerian Army's commemoration of its 162nd anniversary, which took place on Sunday, July 6th. The 2025 Nigerian Army Day event, themed Developing the Soldier First concept, imperative for Nigerian Army's transformation drive, showcased a strategic shift towards prioritizing the welfare, capability, and combat readiness of its personnel. The celebration featured a grand parade and equipment display serving as a tribute to the dedication and sacrifices of Army personnel, both fallen and serving. Vice President Kashim Shettima, representing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, led a high-profile delegation that included Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani and the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede. Oluyede underscored the Army's evolution over a century and a half, emphasizing that despite significant advancements in structure and equipment, the enduring spirit, discipline, and courage of Nigerian soldiers remain its core strength.